This is the new Peugeot 2008 and it's a jacked up SUV version of the 208, or you can think of it as a baby version of the Peugeot 3008. Basically it's an alternative to a Nissan Juke or a Volkswagen T-Cross, and in this video I'm going to give it a thorough reviewing. Let's kick off this video by talking about cold hard cash. So while the 2008 does look pretty expensive, it's rather affordable actually. It starts from just over £20,000, but that's the manufacturer's list price. You can save an average of almost 2.5 grand off one through CarWow. In fact, if you want to see how much you can save off one of these, or any car for that matter, click on the pop-out banner up there to go straight to CarWow. You can follow the link in the description below, or later on, just Google CarWow. Now let's talk about the 2008's design, because Peugeot is on a roll at the moment. It's producing some really interesting looking cars, and this has a lot going on, but in a good way. I think it's very stylish. It's got a sort of futuristic vibe going to it. The design of these lights, the shape of the bumpers. Now obviously the size of wheel you get depends on which model you go for. The more you pay, the bigger your wheels. This is the GT line version, so you get some contrasting black roof as well, which does help the car look really, really nice. Around the front it's super distinctive. So on high spec versions you get these 3 strips in the headlights, and it works really well with this part here, which is supposed to look like parts of a lion. That's the fangs and these are the claws. You didn't spot that, did you? They are though. There's a load of design waffle coming out of car manufacture, I can assure you. But anyway, it is a good looking car, and the colour of the grille does change depending on what model you've got. Overall, it's interesting, it's distinctive, and I do really like it. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. The interior of this car is even more interesting than the exterior. I mean, look at the dual layered dash, the design of the materials. There's lots of scoops, lots of shapes, a small steering wheel, screen here and screen here. There's a nice panel just here for all the heater controls and your shortcut buttons for the infotainment system, and it's just a really clever bit of design. And the materials are good as well. Yes, squidgy up there. I like it. It gets a bit cheaper lower down, and maybe if you rattle some of the bits and pieces, it's not the most solid, but overall it feels fairly expensive. And depending on which model you go for, you get different kind of colours and trim about the place. I like it. I like it a lot. Here in the back of the 2008, there's definitely enough room for adults. I'm average height and I've got plenty of headspace. There's lots of knee room as well. You can fit 3 in the back at once if you have to, but because the roofline arcs in, it's not so great then for the people on the outer 2 seats, but kids will be more than happy. The only slight downside, I think, is that the back windows, while long, they aren't very deep. You've got a big area of plastic here, but that's what you pay for that kind of cool exterior design look. Oh well. The boot on this car is actually pretty decent. It's got 434 litres of space, and that means you can fit quite a lot in it. In fact, you can fit this much in it, which is easily enough. Certain things I like about it as well is, look, you've got no load lip, so you can slide things in and out dead easy like that, which is always good. And you've got an adjustable boot floor as well. So you've got some more space under there, and I like this look. There's like a metal handle for it. Peugeot's really spoiling us. Not spoiling us with boot accessories though. There's some storage areas here and here, but there's no tethering points or 12-volt socket. It's a bit limited. Engine choices on this car include a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder petrol engine with either 101 horsepower, 131 horsepower or 155 horsepower. There's also a 1.5 litre diesel with 102 horsepower and an electric version with 136 horsepower. You can get it with a manual gearbox, you can get it with an automatic gearbox on certain models, and it's only front-wheel drive, this car. It may look like an SUV, but there's no four-wheel drive version at all. Now let's talk about the 2008 equipment levels. So the range kicks off with the Active. So that gets reversing sensors, you get a leather steering wheel and a 7-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. If you upgrade to Active Premium, you actually get built-in sat-nav for the infotainment system. Next up is the Allure, and that gets fully automatic climate control rather than just basic air conditioning. It also gets faux leather on the seats. Then there's the electronic parking brake rather than a manually operated handbrake. There's also all-round parking sensors, and you get rear tinted windows. Oh yes. Then there's the Allure Premium, which increases the size of the infotainment system to this one, which is 10 inches, and then you also get the digital driver's display. Next is the GT line, and that gets part leather effect seats. They're sporty in the front and they're heated as well. You get 8 different colours of interior ambient lighting. There's a reversing camera and, check it out, hidden under here, which is quite nice, wireless charging for your mobile phone. finally, there is the GT model, and that gets a glass roof. It also has plenty of extra safety kit, adaptive cruise control with stop and go, and keyless entry and start. Now, if you want even more equipment on your 2008, then you can get some options such as a high-performance stereo, Napa leather for the seats, and even a massage function. That's the kind of thing you get on premium cars. We'll bump up the price though. That's why it's worthwhile checking out how much you can save on one. So I put the details of this car into the carwow configurator. It's a GT line 1.2 litre 130 horsepower petrol. It should cost just over £26,000, but I've got an offer back, wow, for £24,000. So a saving of around £2,000. It's not bad. Now I'll tell you what I've done to save you the hassle of doing that yourself. I've chosen my favourite engine and trim combination of this 2008, and I've configured it and got some offers back from our trusted dealers. And if you click on the pop-out banner up there, you can see that car and the deals that I got on it, or just follow the link below the video. It says Matt's pick. Let's continue this review by talking about the infotainment system. So it's pretty easy to use. The shortcut buttons are dead handy to just zip between different functions like that. And satellite navigation, when you want to input a postcode, you just press that button and you start entering it. Very, very quick. If I do have a complaint, it's the fact that the screen, look, it's a little bit laggy and the graphics aren't that bright nor sharp. I think the infotainment system in a Volkswagen T-Cross is just a little bit snazzier. In fact, if you click on the pop-out button just up there, you can watch my full in-depth video review of that car. If you need to charge your devices, most cars, apart from the entry-level model, which only gets one USB, have two in the front, a USB-C here, a normal USB there, then two more just here in the back for the kids. And also there's an old-fashioned 12-volt charging socket if you need that as well. The digital driver display on this car is really, really nice. It's got this cool 3D effect, and it's just like nothing in any other car. Well, apart from other Peugeots, of course. And it can display various information like navigation and driving information and different dials and designs and colours. It's all very, very lovely. Interior storage is generally pretty good on the 2008. There's that storage I told you about earlier for your mobile phone. There's also some cup holders there. That one's quite deep, that one's not so deep, which is handy for coffees. There's a bit of space under here, it's not massive. With a little pointless tray in it. They always do that, car manufacturers, don't know why. Another thing I don't know why they do is this. On Peugeots in the UK, you get a small glove box, whereas if you've got a left-hand drive car, the glove box is twice the size. Still, at least the door bins are large enough for a big bottle, and those in the back are pretty decent in size as well. And you get some netting on the seat backs. When it comes to fitting a child seat in the 2008, there is one small problem, and it's the door openings. Just this bit aren't that wide, so it can be a bit difficult to manoeuvre the seat in. Once it's in, it's no problem at all. And to get the Isofix anchor points, you just lift up this zip, though it is quite stiff, the zip, and the zip is flimsy, so I wonder, they may break, but once they're up, you can slot the seat in nice and easy. And the best thing about it is that you can actually fit in one of those bulky rear-facing seats without having to move any of the front seats forward. And if you have 3 babies, there's actually Isofix anchor points on the front passenger seat as well, which is handy. If you need to carry lots of stuff in your 2008, fold the seats down like this. They do lie fairly flat, so you can just slide bigger items to the front. Also, because it's a tall vehicle, nice high roof, there's loads you can fit in it. You can fit this much in it. Let me tell you, that's quite a bit more than you can fit in a Ford Puma with its seats down. Now then, it's time for the CarWow 5 annoying things about this car. The way Peugeot's located the dials above the steering wheel does look cool, and it can work for some people, but for others, depending on how you like the steering wheel raised, it can mean that it blocks those dials. The definition of the reversing camera is just so low definition, it looks like you're playing a game of Minecraft. When you fold the rear seats down, look at that. Oh no, that goes like that, and then that goes like that, and you can't get at it. And do you know what? That doesn't happen in a Skoda Kamiq. So if you click on the pop-out banner just up there, you can see my full in-depth video review of that car. Look at this, you get a space saver spare wheel. That's handy, isn't it? However, if you pay for the upgraded stereo, then you have a subwoofer in the boot, which is great, but it means you don't have that spare wheel and instead some tyre inflation kit, which is a bit less practical. Do they? No! The rear windows don't go all the way down. I don't know why so many cars are like that. Thankfully, this car has plenty of cool features to help make up for all this. Here's 5. Peugeot has worked with Michelin to develop the tyres on this car for a low rolling resistance, and that is supposed to improve the economy. So what economy did I get when driving this car? Well, it averaged 47 miles per gallon, which is okay. I really like the fact that you can fit the load cover easily underneath the false floor. Yeah, I love it when a plan comes together. As you can see, the doors extend all the way over the sills, so they never get dirty, which means the backs of your trousers don't get dirty either when you rub them against there when getting in and out. I really like the way that the stripes here on this rear pillar are mirrored here on the car's wheels. Peugeot really does have a keen eye for design. While this car isn't four-wheel drive, you can get it with something called grip control, and it's a very clever programming of the stability control, and it has settings for sand and snow, and it does help pull you out of sticky situations when the grip isn't great. Right, let's see what this Peugeot 2008 is like to drive. So, controls, nice and light. The gear selector is a bit notchy. Pedals are light though, and the brakes a little bit over assisted, so if you're pressing too hard you end up almost headbanging the steering wheel, but that's my only complaint. Oh, and the rather thick pillar here, which does create a bit of a blind spot. Can't fault the comfort though. It soaks up the bumps like a much bigger car, and because you are sat up slightly higher than in a normal big hatchback, you do get a sense that you're in an SUV. Not a huge one, but definitely something above the standard car, and it does help with forward visibility. What's not so good though is this huge mirror, that the gap in between here and the top of the infotainment screen is quite small. When you get out on the motorway, this car continues to perform really well. So it's very quiet, it's relaxing, it's really, really enjoyable to go on a long distance in. And it's got plenty of punch in this engine, so I'm in 4th gear, I'm going to floor it. And it does all right for overtaking. Look, that was 50 and now I'm accelerating up to 70. I like it. What about on a twisty road though? There's going to be a trade-off, I think, for that comfy drive. So what will it do in a corner? It's going to lean a bit, and it does. It leans a bit, but it's got a slight floaty feel to it. It grips all right, and traction control just stops you from getting too carried away. It's competent. It does all that you need a car like this to do. It does skip a bit if you hit a bump mid-corner, you feel it through the steering wheel, but it's fine. You know, if you want a car like this, a bit jacked up, that's a bit more fun to drive, you probably want to look at a Ford Puma. In fact, if you click on the pop-out button up there, you can watch my full in-depth video review of that car. So then, what's my final verdict on the new Peugeot 2008? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it, or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon if you're in the market for one of these small SUVs, you should just go right ahead and buy this, because I can't think of one that I prefer. It's my favourite. Do you agree with my verdict? Let me know in the comments section. Also, please subscribe to this channel for more videos, and if you click on the deals box to the right, you can see how much you can save on a new car at CarWow. Or click on the video windows below to watch another of my videos.